You lost to a fat man who nobody knew who he was, right? Everyone said if Klitschko was even 5 years younger, you would have lost that fight. Dillian White said, if I didn't do my shoulder, I would have won that fight, right? If he then goes and loses to a cruiserweight.
Spartans! What is your profession?
Yes, people, another edition of Knightz of the Roundtable Discussions where we discuss all sports all the time. Got my guy ST with me. How are you doing, sir?
What's going on, man?
I'm all good in the hood, bro. Can't complain. Good. What about yourself?
I'm all good, man. I had like a week to recharge my batteries. I'm back, you know.
Oh, bro, and it's always good to have you, bro. You become a regular now. I can't be giving you that special introduction of being a special guest anymore now, bro. You're embedded into our channel family, brother, and we're happy to have you.
Thank you, man.
Our people, something different today. Fight Talk is back, but obviously Tu isn't here. He'll be joining me later as we talk about UFC. But I did tell you lot in previous podcasts that we were going to get ST on for Boxing Talk as it has come back and he is here. Listen, I'm always on the channel. I'm always doing all the talking. I go on like I know it all. You lot know Tu is my MMA connoisseur, the Nate Diaz of dentistry, that is him. But my boxing knowledge comes from this gentleman right here. When him and I talk boxing, he's the one that I defer to. So you lot are now going to be seeing where I get the knowledge from boxing is from this guy, ST, right here. But before we begin, as usual, people, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Get them likes up, get them subscriptions up, hit that like button, smash it, hit the subscription button, share, tell a friend, we are here. Remember, it's the only channel you got out there that covers the variety of sports that we do, and the content is always hilarious, and the content has always got in-depth analysis. And don't forget to join our social media pages as well. Links are in the description. But yes, it is Boxing Talk. The big fight coming up this weekend is Joshua versus Usyk for the IBO, WBA, and WBO heavyweight championship of the world. Is taking place in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. ST, bro, I feel like, I know other boxing fights happen, but I feel like boxing hasn't had a massive fight. Either it's been postponed or it's been cancelled for whatever reason. I think this is the first time in a long time we can speak about a big fight in boxing. It's not the fight in the heavyweight division that we want, but it is a fight nevertheless. And Usyk obviously was the undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world, cleaned up at the division, has moved up to heavyweight. In terms of AJ, right, he's had to obviously move the goalposts a little bit. He was focused on the Fury fight. He thought it was a done deal. Didn't happen because of the whole thing with Wilder and Fury, which people will be explosive and we will be talking about in a couple of weeks' time. He's had to focus. He's now focused on Usyk. Is this a massive risk for AJ to take in terms of the caliber of opponent that he's facing in Usyk?
It's a difficult style. Usyk has very good feet. He's southpaw. He's very good on his toes. He weaves in, weave out. He's got very good head movement. It's a very, very dangerous fight for Joshua in the sense that I'm not worried about him getting hurt as such. It's just that Usyk is very elusive, and also Usyk is also used to fighting big men as well. We need to go back to his, I know it's amateur days or semi-pro / amateur days, but Usyk fought in the World WBBS. I'm not talking about the one with the unified with the belts. This is before he turned pro. He fought some really good fighters there. He fought no, he didn't fight Hergovich. He fought Joyce.
Mm-hmm.
Joyce is a big man, but absolutely schooled him. And don't get me wrong, I think I think Joshua's a lot better than Joyce. Let me go.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he is. So Joe,
a lot better.
honestly.
But one thing about Joshua we haven't seen is him actually fighting someone who's really fleet of foot,
Mm-hmm.
who goes in on his way out, who's very technically really, really sound. Olympic gold medalist as well, hasn't lost a lot of amateur bouts. So it's a very dangerous fight for Joshua. I can personally see him winning by points because Joshua's boxing IQ isn't as bad as people make it out to be. It's decent. And you don't win a gold medal for not having decent boxing IQ.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do think that Joshua will probably try and keep him at the end of the jab. I think that Usyk will probably feel his power. I wouldn't say he's going to run away from it because Usyk is actually quite a strong character.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like he won't be as active. And I think that due to that, he'll try and pick his shots he'll try and pick his shots. He won't just go in because he's well aware that Joshua has power and he's got the power on him. But I can personally see it being a decision. I don't think Joshua will knock him out.
Ah, that's interesting because I think in the media, it's being touted that Joshua's gonna bully Usyk. He's too big for him. Usyk can't hurt him. So it's what the consensus is that it's going to be either Usyk on points or Joshua by KO. So you saying that you can see Joshua winning on points? That's an interesting concept, though. I know he went the distance with Parker, and I know he went the distance in the second fight with Andy Ruiz. So we know that Joshua can do the whole patience, pick his shots. But against a guy as slick as Usyk, do you not think that trying to go points with Usyk is probably the most detrimental way of Joshua trying to win the fight?
That's just what I'm trying to say. He won't go looking for points, I don't think, Joshua. He's going to look, because he's the bigger man, he's going to try and knock him out. But he's going to be soon realized that Joshua has a very good jab for his combinations in power. And I think that Joshua will try and get him in the first round. Usyk will probably taste his power. I wouldn't say Usyk's going to be on his back because I think he's been punched by guys that are 6'6" and stuff like that. But I feel like Usyk won't be as active, so it will look like Joshua will be beating him on points. Because remember, I feel like if they're really going to give Usyk this fight, they're going to need to I'm not even gonna lie, Usyk's going to have to hurt him because I feel like it's in England. The judges are not really on his side, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
But I think Joshua is going to be cautious because I think that Joshua, there will be times where Usyk will maneuver him out of position because of his quick footwork and catch him on the inside. But I don't think that, for example, Joshua he's going to be wary of his footwork. So I think that Joshua will obviously clip him. He'll get close to him. He'll use his jab, keep it on the outside. But yeah, that's what I really, really do think. I don't think Joshua will actually knock him out because I think that Usyk is so savvy, he'll do enough to like stay in there and try and catch his shots. But I just don't think that how can I describe it? He won't be
going all guns blazing.
Yeah.
You say?
Yeah, Usyk's never been that sort of fighter.
Mm.
So that's what I think. I do think that Joshua will win, but by points.
Oh, I mean, that's a bold statement to make. I mean, when you break it down, obviously you mentioned the power that Usyk doesn't have. So I get what you're saying. I understand it because Joshua's got to be very careful. It was this whole thing that he did with Joseph Parker when he believed that if he beat Parker, the next fight was going to be wilder. So he was very cautious. He was very methodical. Some people called it boring, but he literally stayed outside on the jab, kept it at range, and did what he had to do. Same thing in the Ruiz rematch. Kept it on the outside, didn't really want to engage. But I think the difference is that Usyk is a completely different caliber of fighter. So as Joseph Parker, good fighter. The Mexican Homer Simpson. That was a revenge. That was a revenge fight, and Joshua knew he could not lose. When you're coming up against Usyk, who had a very good amateur background, obviously Olympic gold medalist at the same time that Joshua won his gold medal, I might add, right? And you see the way that Usyk goes about his work, his footwork, because he's got that European style. So you know they're all technically sound. The footwork is amazing. So for Joshua to go out there, yes, keep him on the outside, 100% agree. But Usyk's going to know that he's going to try and do that. So if anybody can try and come up with a game plan to outmaneuver that, it is Usyk. So wouldn't it be the smart thing, not saying in the first round, but after the first three, because I see it differently to you. I think Usyk is going to work the first half of the fight to try and establish himself. And obviously because he's away from home. But what I'm saying is that towards round 5 and 6, I can see Joshua trying to go for the power shots and trying to get him out of there, because I honestly don't think, and you mentioned it earlier, I don't think Joshua has the mental capacity to go 12 rounds against a guy the caliber of Usyk and win. Not saying he can't, because I said he's done it previously, but the caliber of Usyk and how intelligent he is and how good his footwork is. I don't know if Joshua can let it go to 12 rounds.
No, I understand what you're saying. Like, for me, if Usyk, if your prediction of him, for example, Joshua is going to stop Usyk, I mean, it's going to be a thing where Usyk has to get Joshua to respect his power, first of all. Yeah, Usyk has to get in. And the thing is, I just don't see him doing that. I feel like for some reason, I think Joshua will start quickly. And you need to also think of all the other factors, such as it's Tottenham, it's the big ground. You know, Joshua hasn't fought in a while. He's looking to get the cobwebs out. He's gonna look to start fast, if you know what I mean.
Oh, no, that's a fair. No, actually, no, you're right. You're right. In terms of starting fast, you are right.
I do see where you're coming from. Don't get me wrong. Usyk for me has to start really quickly. Has to build the rounds up, because if he doesn't do that, then of course it's possible that Anthony Joshua could stop him. And Usyk's been down before.
Has he been dropped?
He's been dropped. He's been dropped in the in the amateurs before, and I think he should have got one against. There was one fight against Gravashki in the 12th round. It should have been scored and knocked down. He was hurt a little bit, so it wasn't really called as a knockdown, but he was hurt and it should have been called as a knockdown. I remember it quite well because I remember watching the fight. But so Usyk can get hurt. It's just about Joshua catching him, but I can really see Joshua trying to play it safe, because also Joshua understands that he's got potential fights with Fury and Wilder. I don't see them happening anytime soon because of politics and all that stuff, but that'll probably be on his mind, if you understand what I mean.
No, 100%. This is what, like, that's the flip side. And like I said, I get it because he did it with the Joseph Parker thing, but I'm just like 12 rounds with Usyk trying to outpoint him. Like Joshua, remember Joshua in the didn't really have an amateur career, if I remember correctly. He started boxing late.
19.
Yeah. So whereas Usyk, literally, he's been there and done it. And my fear for Joshua, don't get me wrong, I'm predicting Joshua to knock him out. But my fear for Joshua is that Usyk is going to be so technically sound, so quick on his feet, that Joshua's not going to be able to smother him, not going to be able to bully him, get frustrated, and swing wild. And we know that Usyk hasn't got the power to hurt Joshua in terms of one-punch knockout power. But we've seen in fights, when Joshua starts to get to round 7, 8, 9, fatigue starts settling in. right? And I don't care who you are, when you're tired and you're getting hit with combinations, they are going to hurt. And a lot of people are questioning Joshua's chin. Obviously, he's been down to Klitschko. Obviously, the Andy Ruiz Jr. fight, and people said that Ruiz couldn't hit hard. And look what happened. Do you know what I mean?
Knew that was. I mean, that's a different level. Yeah, you're right. But Andy Ruiz is actually a different level of puncher. If people, because you know what it is, people didn't watch Andy Ruiz, and I'd watched him before. And I knew that because of his hand speed and he's got a lot of hand speed and he's got a lot of power. So I knew that would be his kryptonite, because remember, someone like Povetkin also caused Joshua problems as well, and he's about the same size as Ruiz, very slick hands and all that stuff like that. So those are the sort of fighters that give him problems, if you understand. And Usyk's kind of in that stature, but I don't think Usyk has the power, but he's got the skill, if you understand what I mean.
And this is it. And the last time AJ was being built up, the last time it was, if you, obviously he was supposed to fight, what was my youth's name? Baby boy.
Jarrell Miller.
Jarrell Miller, obviously, it didn't work out. And he got Andy Ruiz on 5 weeks' notice, cool. But we knew what the end game was. We knew what the carrot was at the end of it. It was your fight with Wilder. And then look what happened. Andy Ruiz Jr. came and shocked the world and got a stoppage. So my whole thing is that Usyk is another one of those fighters where Joshua's being built up. Oh no, he can't handle Joshua's power. Joshua's too big, blah, blah, blah. Joshua's got to get out of his mind that, this is going to be an easy fight, because it's not. It might be, look, it could be short work, because we know AJ's got one punch power. I need to get out of there, tongue tied. But he has to be prepared that sometimes when your power doesn't work, you gotta go to plan B. You gotta look at it and be like, all right, cool. It's not working yet, so let me show this, let me show that. Because the one thing with AJ is his head movement isn't great. And you and I have discussed this before. His head movement isn't the best. His footwork, or for a big lad, his footwork is all right. I mean, compared to Wilder and all them man there, his footwork's all right. It's not better than Fury's, but it's all right for him. But you're coming up a guy with elite footwork who can set traps and make it difficult and give you angles that you've never seen before. Because let's be realistic. You said it. He's never fought somebody like Usyk. Like Usyk, obviously cruiserweight to heavyweight, but it's that European style that he's crafted, right?
I mean, he's fought Povetkin. Povetkin's is but
Povetkin's old, man.
Yeah, I know. Povetkin will show him some of the traps with his hands and stuff like that. However, as you said, like, Usyk's footwork is different. And I'll tell you a story, And I've read this somewhere as well. Usyk and Klitschko have been sparring.
What? Was that recent?
No, I'm not sure if it was a while back. And I'm hearing that Usyk was giving Klitschko the business. And I'm not surprised about that, in the sense that Klitschko would have probably got frustrated because of Usyk's footwork. He's probably thinking in and out, boom, in and out, boom. And that's what I fear for Joshua. If he gets frustrated. But however, I can see Joshua picking him from the outside, because that would be, for him, that would be his plan. I don't think mauling him would be the best thing, because I'll give you an example. Obviously, they're different fighters, but Chisora tried to maul Usyk, but obviously Joshua is a lot better than Chisora.
Yeah.
But Usyk was picking him off towards the end and stuff like that.
But Usyk didn't look great in that fight.
No, he didn't.
Let's be honest. He didn't look great. And I think this is where people are coming from. And I'm glad you actually brought up, because I forgot about that fight with Derek Chisora, the Jose Aldo of boxing, bruv.
Oh, no. No.
This Derek... Two will not be happy that I said that, you know.
What, Derek Chisora is his boy, yeah?
Nah, Jose Aldo's his boy. He hates Chisora, bro.
Okay.
But Usyk didn't look great, and that's the perspective that people are coming from. It's like, you didn't look great against Chisora, but you got the job done. Now you're coming up against a guy that's more elite than Chisora, who is gonna make you look like a cruiserweight. That's basically what people are saying.
Yeah.
You're gonna look like a cruiserweight, right? When you step into the ring with Usyk. And I don't think that you can go based off that, purely because AJ hasn't fought someone like this. And I keep going back to it. And the reason why I keep going back to it is because me personally, the longer the fight goes on, the more in favor it is for Usyk. Purely because, a couple of things. Usyk is used to going 12 rounds. The Usyk style is built for 12 rounds. AJ does have a tendency to fatigue and gas out. The chin is questionable. As I said, Usyk in rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, probably not going to hurt him. But if AJ gasses out in 8 and 9 and Usyk starts throwing combinations, all of a sudden, them punches start to hurt. And if you remember correctly, yeah, obviously Andrew Ruiz, the first knockdown, caught him in the side of the head and he never recovered from it.
Yeah.
But when you look at the last knockdown, bro, he barely touched him and AJ went down. AJ looked frustrated, he looked confused, and he looked tired. And this is my fear. Because again, Andy Ruiz, bruv, right? This brother, bruv, all he was famous for was for eating tacos, bruv. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, man's doing up world titles. So that's what I fear for AJ, that he goes in there, tries to get him out of there, doesn't. We're in round 8 or 9. Usyk is skipping around like he's Ali. AJ looks like he's Audley Harrison, looking bare confused, bruv, doesn't know what's going on.
Usyk, that's why I think in terms of the game plan, that's why I think Usyk is going to be expecting Joshua to be coming and flying out. And if I think that his training team are smart, I don't think Joshua should be starting like that. I think Joshua should be picking the jab, establishing distance, because that's the way I see he's going to win the fight. Because if you may think he's going to knock him out at the end if Usyk gets tired, but I really do think that, for me, going gung-ho at Usyk, not a good idea for me. But I think Usyk will be picking him off.
100%, 100%. We're talking about, obviously, we're talking about all the fears for AJ and what he shouldn't do. But in terms of, obviously, you said the jab, go points. But in an ideal world, if he was going to say, you know what, I'm the big heavyweight, I'm the champion, I'm going to hurt him, how does he go about it? Keep him at range and then try and uppercut and hook? Or is it a case of, do you just jab, jab, jab till you can't jab no more, and then the openings will come? Does AJ have to do 50-50? Does he have to be half patient and half aggressive, or does he go full aggressive, or does he go patient? Because I think that the problem for AJ is that if it goes, and I get you with the points thing, but I think if it goes to points, he's going to have more questions to ask. Yeah. Because Wilder and Fury, whoever wins out of that one, are going to be like, we've just gone a trilogy and we haven't gone to points, but this guy's out here going to points with a cruiserweight. So surely doesn't AJ have to make a statement in this fight?
I mean, if he's going to do it a certain way, what I think Joshua should do is, if you are going to lose the rounds in the first rounds, you need to invest in the body, because we all know a mover, what do? You hit the body, because it slows the person down. You need to be constantly hit the body. Don't always aim for the body, if you understand what I mean. You need to feint. Always feint up top and to the body. You need to get Usyk biting on the feints. And yeah, for me, He needs to invest a lot of time into the body because that's the only way he's gonna stone him down. It's gonna force Usyk to trade, and if that's the case, then I think Joshua can pick him off because he'll be able to then read Usyk's movements. Usyk will be a little bit slower, and then maybe in rounds 8, 9, 10, Joshua could probably knock him out. But that's if Joshua was to do that game plan. If you're gonna stop Usyk, I think that you need to invest in the body from early.
No, I hear that 100%, and that's the thing. Everybody, the thing is, what people don't seem to realize, the casual fan is that it's always the body, bro. The body takes the gas out of the tank. So if you got someone that's constantly moving, if you aim for that body and pick that off, you slow them down, then all of a sudden they're fighting your kind of fight. So 100%, I 100% agree with that. For Usyk, obviously we know points is the way, but how? How does he outpoint AJ? Because he is the smaller man in terms of he's shorter than AJ and he's got a shorter reach. So he's going to have to try and get on the inside. So with all those things going against him, how does he win this fight? How's he going to try and win this fight with all the disadvantages that he has?
Ooh, well, for me, Usyk has to fight a perfect fight. So first of all, has to keep Joshua guessing. Head movement is going to be crucial. Footwork is going to be crucial. Usyk's going to have to be very, very fit to keep Joshua off him. Also, change it up a little bit. So don't just move in. If you see Joshua coming forward, use that razor left hand you got, and then keep pivoting off that. And don't pivot in the same direction. Not the way Lomachenko did with Teofimo Lopez, where because Teofimo read his movements, Lomachenko wasn't able to pivot out of it, if you understand what I mean, and just catching shots.
Yeah.
What Usyk needs to be he needs to be himself, but he can't be pivoting to, because when you're actually a southpaw, you pivot onto your back foot, so that's your right foot, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
So he's got to be very, very careful and not to do that, because for someone like Joshua, even though Joshua hasn't had a lot of fights, he could probably read that, if you understand what I mean. So he can probably time in. So he needs to keep, the most important thing is Usyk needs to keep Anthony Joshua guessing.
No, 100%. And has AJ fought? AJ hasn't fought? Has anyone been southpaw? He hasn't fought a southpaw.
Povetkin was a southpaw, I think.
Oh yeah.
I think he was he. I think he was.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I might be wrong. I might be wrong.
Yeah, but I think Povetkin was a southpaw. Yeah, because it was a left hand. Yeah. Povetkin was a southpaw, and obviously we did see that he troubled him a little bit. So he's gonna have to try and AJ's gonna have to try and adjust to the southpaw stance, because obviously it doesn't come very often. But sorry. What else for Usyk? What else does he have to do to try and win this fight?
I also think I'm telling him to go to the telling Joshua to go to the body. I mean, yeah, I think Usyk needs to go to the body. So a bit like, so when Joshua throws his jab and Usyk slips, attack the body out, because in a way that will slow him down. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Usyk's the biggest puncher, but I think that will slow Joshua down.
100%.
We obviously know that when you get tired, you can't throw the shots you throw your shots. So there won't be much power on the shots if Usyk invests in that as well.
Yeah.
So that's my main thing. Body and keep Joshua guessing. And one thing as well, don't stay on the ropes. Stay off the ropes, get out of the ropes. Try and keep it in the center of the ring as well. If I was to tell Usyk, because you keeping it on the ropes, it's going to be curtains for you, I think.
No, 100%. I hear that. If Usyk was to win this fight, right? Is that AJ done at the elite level of boxing if he loses to Usyk?
No.
The reason why I asked that question is because you lost to a fat man who nobody knew who he was, right? Everyone said if Klitschko was even 5 years younger, you would have lost that fight. Dillian White said, if I didn't do my shoulder, I would have won that fight, right? If he then goes and loses to a cruiserweight that everybody, it's not like his name's Evander Holyfield. It's not like Usyk's name is David Haye, right? So if he goes and loses to a cruiserweight, how does he then redeem himself? Remember, everyone was saying that Wilder was done and he fought Tyson Fury, right? Who's an elite heavyweight, right? So if AJ loses to Usyk, how can he climb back to the top of the ladder and be calling these other guys out when you lost to somebody that you shouldn't have lost to?
No. So for me, the reason, obviously this is not a Wilder video, but the reason why people thought Wilder was done because of the way Wilder is. Wilder is a very naturally, it's a typical brash American, very confident, and for him to get beaten that way, it will be obviously it's done a lot to his mental capacity. So that's why probably people are thinking he's done. Whereas AJ is mentally slightly different. I think he's mentally better than Wilder in the sense that he can recover. The reason why I think Joshua he can still call people out for the simple reason is that I really do think, even though after this fight, win or lose, I think Usyk is going to shock a lot of people in the cruiserweight division. I think Usyk will give Wilder nightmares if they were to ever fight. Absolute nightmares, kittens. That's what people not realize. That's why someone like Usyk, who's even though he's a cruiserweight, he's got credentials. If you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
So I think if Anthony Joshua was to lose, I still think there's still a market for Joshua. If you understand what I mean. I still think people would more want to beat him. So people, go on.
Well, I hear what you're saying with the market because everyone loves Anthony Joshua. It's always going to be a massive fight. So I hear it from that standpoint. But I'm just like, if I'm the winner of Fury or Wilder and I see AJ get beat up, like if it's a lucky punch, then fair enough. But if I see you get absolutely dismantled by Usyk, I'm not hearing you calling me out, bro, because like I'm gonna be like, you lost. I was like, you lost to a Taco Bell man, and then you lost to Usyk, bro, who is elite. I understand that, but he's a cruiserweight that doesn't have any punching power. Like you can't call my name. The only way I fight you is if I want a payday. Because remember, what you got to realize is, and it'd be interesting to see if AJ has a rematch clause in this, right? Because if I'm Fury or Wilder, if I'm Fury, let me put it like this: if I'm Fury, I beat Wilder, my attention turns to Usyk and nobody else. I take that fight the week after because I'm just like, I know I will become undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, bar none. If Wilder wins, it's a little bit different because Fury had the belts and blah, 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 but even though Wilder won't make it easy for him because obviously what happened beforehand. But yeah, so your attention turns to Usyk. That puts AJ down the pecking order. So then AJ's looking at it like, okay, now what have I got? I've got to go. Then he's got, there's Joe Joyce and there's, what's mine? Daniel Dubois and Dillian again. And you're in that kind of level because you lost out to a cruiserweight. You see what I'm saying? So it would take AJ a while to get back to the top, even though he's a massive name and the money would make sense.
I agree. I understand exactly what you're saying, but unfortunately, when you're Anthony Joshua and you fight for a world title and you've been a world champion for so long and you've beaten all the names you've beaten, you're still going to be a big name. You're still going to be a big name because we can't forget, Anthony Joshua has beaten very, very, very good opponents since he's become good champion. So that's going to always be a factor in. If you understand what I mean.
100%. I hear that. I'm not disputing his credentials. Like for me, he still hasn't beaten an elite fighter. But
I agree
obviously,
with
there isn't the elite fighters are Fury and Wilder in the heavyweight division. That's just how it is. That's unfortunately we're in a time where in the heavyweight division, the elite fighters are a small pool of it. But obviously, when we were growing up in the 90s, it was a much bigger pool.
Yeah, of
Do you know
course.
what I mean? But he's still beating very good fighters. I mean, obviously, he beat Overhill Klitschko, but he's beaten Pulev, he's beaten Povetkin. Who's the other one? Who am I missing? Who am I? Parker,
White,
Brazil. Do you know what I mean? When he was
Brazil.
watching, so he's beating good names. Like he's faced everybody that he can face in the heavyweight division, bar the two most important names. That's not through lack of trying. Obviously, the Wilder thing didn't happen because of what happened with Andy Ruiz. Fury was obviously out for ages with his own personal issues, but he's yet to beat an elite level fighter. And I think this is where, because Fury and Wilder have fought, this is why the question marks are hanging over AJ.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying, but I still think that people will still want to fight him no matter what he's done. I do think that he still retains some clout. But if Usyk wins, I'm not gonna lie. If I was in Fury or Wilder's position, I know that I'm not really Usyk. I don't think Usyk is attached to anyone. The fight could be easily made. Listen, I'm going for undisputed.
Listen, I'll be like, next week we can go literally, because I'm just like, bro, Wilder will do it because he's like, yes, I've got that one punch knockout power. But I think out of all three of them, Usyk is probably the best fit to fight Wilder, because Wilder can't box for shit.
Yeah,
bro. Like he is awful in terms of in terms of the sweet science. But obviously, if man catches you, you're going to sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's just a case of, can you catch someone like that? It's the whole thing. Remember with Floyd, when everyone was like, oh, but if you catch Floyd, he's going to go to sleep. And it's like, but you can't catch him. Yeah. It doesn't work like that. Do you know what I mean?
Even when you caught him, what happened? He
still stayed up. Whereas if I'm Tyson Fury, I'm like, bro, I am elite in everything. I proved that I can knock people out because I stopped Wilder when everyone thought I couldn't knock anybody out, right? Is that I obviously knows I can switch hit. My head movements are good. My footwork's good. So yeah, if you're Fury, you're picking up the phone and saying, hello, yeah, Usyk, let's go. Do you know what I mean?
Fury would destroy Usyk, and that's no offense to Usyk. I just think the styles make fights, and I think Fury's style is all wrong.
Well, this is it, but these are the things that I'm saying in terms of AJ. If he loses, like this is everything that he's going to have to deal with if he loses, which is why I said it's very interesting to see if he's got a rematch clause, because that rematch clause would mess a lot up in terms of, then we're going to be waiting even longer for the clash between him AJ, and one of the elite fighters. So there's so much on the line for AJ in this fight. He cannot lose this fight. And the pressure's on, bro. I can't lie. The pressure is on him 100%.
It's a tricky fight. I don't think people realize. I think obviously people have watched Usyk beat Bellew, but I don't think people have actually seen how good this guy is. It's going to be very tricky.
100%, bro. 100%. But ST, bro. Prediction. What are you telling me? I want the winner. I want the round, unless you said it's going to go 12 rounds. And I want, what is it? Is it going to be a KO or is it going to be a stoppage? Talk to me.
So I think Joshua is either going to be on points or he's going to stop him late, like 10 rounds. So I'm going Joshua 10 to points.
Nah, you have to pick one, bro.
Okay. I'm gonna Joshua on points.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's mad.
Poor.
Yeah.
You're a braver man than me, bro. I can't lie. I can't say the words Joshua on points in this fight. Me personally, I think, my head, honestly, my head is saying Usyk on points. But my heart, which is what I'm going to go with, I'm going to say Joshua stops him in round 8.
Fair enough.
I think Joshua, but bro, I won't be surprised.
Yeah, I won't.
If it says Usyk beat him on points, because I'm just like, I think, and I think, don't be wrong, if AJ, if your prediction comes to fruition, and AJ wins in points, I think that is a massive. Obviously, everyone will be like, "Oh, you went 12 rounds," but I think it's a massive statement in AJ's cap if Fury beats Wilder and he goes on to fight Fury, because Fury's footwork and his head movement is just as good as Usyk's. So if AJ went points and beats Usyk, right, and I'm not talking about points because he's the hometown boy, but he actually beats him on points, I think that's a massive feather in the cap for AJ, because if he can go 12 rounds and look good against Usyk, that takes away something from Tyson Fury, 100%. But nah, man, I'm going for it. AJ stoppage. I don't think he'll knock him out. I don't think he'll like KO him, but I think a stoppage for sure.
Yeah,
because I just think he's too big and he's too long. But we shall see what happens, people, because it's going to be one of those fights. It's one of those fights where everyone believes AJ is going to win, but the intrigue is there because of how AJ's career path has gone. And we cannot, and I don't want people to think that we are discrediting Usyk and his ability, because his credentials are high.
Not at all.
But it's the heavyweight division. That's why it's the most lucrative, and that is why it's the division that nobody knows what's going to happen. But people, that is it from us. We shall see what happens with AJ versus Usyk later on this week. So let us know what you think in the comments. Is it going to be AJ? Is it going to be Usyk? If AJ wins, where does he go from there? We obviously know where he's going from there, but will it be Fury? Will it be Wilder? That conversation is coming up very soon. If Usyk wins, he's going to be calling out everybody. Let us know what you think about that. Who's he going to fight next? He's going to be on cloud 9. He's going to be saying he's the best fighter of all time if he comes out of this one. And if AJ does lose, then who's next? Is it Joe Joyce? Is it Daniel Dubois? Does he go and fight Dillian again? All these questions need to be answered, and we want to hear from you. And as usual, people, before we go, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Get them likes up, get them subscriptions up, all that good stuff. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We are here. As I said to you before, only channel out there where you get a variety of different sports covered, and it's nothing but banter, and it's nothing but in-depth analysis as well. I want to say thank you very much to my guy, ST. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, bro.
ST too was like, yeah, bro. He's like that. The boxing versus MMA talk has to happen soon, bro. So
I can't wait. This is gonna be mad.
I'm telling you. People.
I was gonna say, let's just say you ain't, like I said, no, there'll be no money from YouTube. So let's just say that on that one, you ain't getting any money from YouTube, because he's gonna be talking a whole load of recklessness that will probably get you in trouble. You need to get your lawyers out. Yeah, because he's gonna finish you. He's gonna finish both of us.
But this is why we love him. Bro. We live in a world where, bro, and that's why the censors are there. That is why the censors are there. But that's why 2 is always welcome on the channel. People, you will see him soon. UFC 266 preview will be happening. 2 will be back. Coming up. So yeah, coming up, we've got UFC 266 preview. Going to be doing that. Obviously, football chat will be going ahead as well. So we'll be looking into that. But so much more. Obviously, next week we'll be doing the review of Joshua versus Usyk. We'll be doing the review of UFC 266. Obviously, footy chat and NBA talk will be back next week as well. And then the week after that, we got Fury versus Wilder. So much more content coming out for you people. It's just going to be churning out all the time. That's what we love. We love to get the content out there. That's really when it's one thing after the next, after the next, after the next. Did I say thank you to you already?
Yeah, you did, man.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. All right, people. Stay safe out there. Be good. And we shall see you very, very soon. Peace.
Peace.